Have you ever been frustrated by the metronome before? Me too. Hi, I'm a music teacher and this is my life. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of the most powerful tools that can be used to really enhance your practice sessions, and that, of course, is the metronome. Since you've clicked on this video, there's a good chance that you already know what the metronome is, and chances are you've also had a teacher, maybe a private music teacher or someone else in your life, tell you that you should use a metronome either in your lessons or when you're practicing. Speaking from personal experience, I grew up taking piano lessons, and my piano teacher when I was a kid would encourage us to use a metronome in our practicing, and he would also turn on the metronome during our piano lessons. The only problem is that he never actually taught me how to use it properly, and neither did my parents when I was practicing at home. So all I would do was turn the metronome on, set it to the performance speed that was written on the page, and I would then start playing the piano, make mistakes, and get frustrated, and either want to give up practicing or give up piano altogether. Now, thankfully, a flute professor that I had in university taught me the error of my ways and showed me how to use a metronome effectively, and it dramatically improved my ability to learn new pieces of music in a very time-efficient way, which is great in university when you're learning lots of new music at a very fast pace. So I feel like now it's my turn to share that knowledge with all of you, and hopefully it helps you along your musical journey. But before I do that, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all of the upcoming videos. And now that that's been said, let's talk about the metronome. So some metronomes will be manual metronomes. Those are the kind that have a little winder on the side that you can tighten. And the great thing about those is that you don't need any batteries or electricity. As long as it's wound up, then it will keep a consistent and steady tempo. The other kind that I showed you is an electric one. Now, you can get ones like this that are battery operated, or there are also plenty of free apps that you can download for your smartphone or other devices and bring with you to rehearsals. I like to have one of these ones just in case my phone dies, and I like to have the one on my phone because should I accidentally leave this one at home, I always have my phone with me. So there are a few things that you will need before I explain how to use the metronome. Number one, have something musically that you are working on. Maybe it's a piece of music or a song you'd like to perform. Have something that you can use as a goal to work towards. Of course, you're also going to need a pencil, the instrument that you play, and of course, the metronome. A pencil is very important so that you can track your progress, but I'm going to get into that in a second. Now, I'm going to be demonstrating using the piano because the piano is an instrument that I want to get better at playing because I lead the choir rehearsals at my school and I want to be able to lead effective warm-ups. So, scales are very important and it's a great way to warm up as well. So I'm going to start by playing some scales. If I were to have someone sing, I might have them sing an ooh sound using these notes. So, before I even talk about the metronome, in my case, I don't really have a performance tempo, but if you have a piece of music that you're working on, what I want you to do, step number one, is to see if there's a performance tempo on the top of the page. If it has an exact number, like for example, if it says quarter note equals 100, great, then you already have the exact tempo that you're working towards. If it doesn't, but it has a word like adagio, allegro, or something like that, then you can easily look up what tempos are appropriate for that word in Italian. Once you have an idea of what that speed is, at least for me, if it's a really challenging thing to play, I like to try and do, say, half of that tempo. And I know that's going to feel really slow, but the goal of using a metronome here is for two things. Number one, to keep your tempo steady, right? The metronome will not slow down or speed up for you. It's going to have a nice, consistent beat. The other thing that the metronome does is that it gives you the opportunity, and this is what I didn't know as a kid, the opportunity to just change the speed so that it suits the level that you are at on that day. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to do, like I said, a simple warm-up, a vocal warm-up that I'd have my students do. few things that happened there. Number one, as you heard, I made a few mistakes, and you could probably see it all over my face when I made some mistakes towards the end. The other thing I noticed I was doing, though, was speeding up and slowing down. I have my metronome right here, and I'm going to use the tempo quarter note equals 100. Now this is actually 92. So I'm going to speed up. Tick, 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 tick. Now if I'm doing quarter note equals 100, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would mean I would be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm now going to try playing that same thing I just did, but with the metronome on, and see how I do. 2, 3, and. I'm going to stop there, but I could feel in my hands as I was playing the piano, I could feel myself wanting to rush and wanting to speed up. And it's a good thing I didn't speed up, because what ended up happening was I made a mistake partway through. Is it frustrating to make a mistake? Of course it is, because the goal is to try and practice our pieces to the point where we're not making mistakes when it comes time to perform it for an audience. So the first thing I did was I knew what my goal was. My goal is quarter note equals 100 beats per minute. Now, can I do that without making any mistakes? That's step 2, is choose a speed where you don't make any mistakes. No, I can't. So I'm going to turn this down to be a little bit slower. Is it going to feel like a setback to do this? At first it will, but the goal is to choose a tempo where you can play a certain passage, maybe a page or so, or a certain section of your music without making mistakes. So I'm going to try that same amount again, this time a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, and. Now, did I make the same mistake this time? No, I didn't. And that is the goal, right? The goal is to try and make fewer mistakes. And now that I can play it slower at 92 beats per minute, the next step is to try it a little bit faster. Now, this is where your pencil and paper come in. If you have a paper, I want you to write down the speed at which you can play that section or passage or scale without making any mistakes. So on my piece of paper here, I'm going to write 92 beats per minute. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to take my metronome and I'm going to put it up to, let's say 96. That's halfway between 92, the speed I could play it without making mistakes, and 100, the speed where I was still making mistakes. Now I'm going to try it again. 1, 2, ready, and. mistake in the middle? Yes, I did, but I know where the mistake is and how I can fix it. So if you're looking at, let's say, a large piece of music, say it's like a piece of music that has 3 different movements. Maybe you're focusing on just movement 1. If movement 1 is, let's say, 5 pages, focus on maybe the first page or page and a half if it makes more sense with the musical phrasing. You're looking at the piece of music section by section and working it gradually faster and faster, but the goal is to practice it in the right way. You know how they say practice makes perfect? That's not actually true. Practice makes permanent. And so you don't want to reinforce bad habits. So step 1 was have something to work towards. Step 2 was choose a tempo that you can play that passage at confidently without making any mistakes. And then step 3 is track your progress. So I could write 92. Can I write 96 right now? No, but I could probably work on that a little bit more and then be able to write 96. And then the next time I start my practicing, if I have that written down, I can say, oh yeah, the last time I was working on this, I was at 96 beats per minute. Quarter note equals 96 beats per minute. So then the goal can be to try to get it up to 100 beats per minute and so on. And so maybe your performance tempo is 120 beats per minute, and right now you're only at 80. That's okay, because the goal is that you're playing all the right notes, the right rhythm, the right articulation, the correct dynamics, and that you're able to do it beginning to end without making mistakes. Because trust me, playing it slowly, but getting it absolutely perfect feels like a small victory. And the more small victories you can have along the way, the better motivated you are to continue practicing, as opposed to being frustrated at the metronome and wanting to give up on music. Do not give up on something. If you really love it, work for it, and you will eventually get there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on all of the upcoming videos. Happy music making, and we'll see you again back on this channel very soon. Bye guys.